What if I told you there's a secret way to buy property for just a fraction of the cost? Imagine getting your hands on land for up to 90% off the market price. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, it's happening right now, and you can be a part of it. Stick with me, and I'll show you how. I'm Abi, and together with my wife, we have bought and sold over 550 properties in the last 6 years. And today, I'll show you the top 3 websites to find these incredible government seized property deals, how to participate in these auctions, and the key mistakes to avoid so you don't end up with a bad deal. But before I tell you about these exact websites, let's talk about something super important: due diligence. Skipping due diligence is like skydiving without checking if you packed a parachute. Sure, you'll have a fun fall until you don't. In fact, let me share a quick story. So earlier this year, we won a piece of vacant land in Putnam County, Florida at a county tax deed auction. It looked like the perfect deal. Good road access, houses nearby, and we won the auction for just over $3,000. According to our comps, it was worth around $13, giving us a $10,000 potential profit. Everything seemed to be going our way. Now we do have a team of 11 people, and we had just brought on a new VA in the Philippines who helped with the due diligence. This property though seemed great on paper. So after we got the deed, we hired a drone photographer to take beautiful shots and listed it on the MLS, Facebook Marketplace, and sites like land.com. We even priced it a little bit below the market value to create interest. And boy, did it work. Tons of inquiries were coming in, but then we received a scary letter. It was from the county's code enforcement office informing us that we owed over $19,500 in code enforcement liens. That was shocking because we always had a process for checking liens. We dug into the details and found out that the lien had been placed over 10 years ago for an illegal RV that had been parked on the lot by the previous owner. What started out as a much smaller fine of $1,500 had snowballed into $19,500 with interest and penalties stacking up over the years. Our new VA had missed this because he assumed vacant land couldn't have code enforcement liens, which, as we learned the hard way, is not the case. And because code enforcement liens aren't wiped out in tax auctions, we were still on the hook to pay the entire amount. That lien would have killed the deal, so we had to act fast. We got on the phone with the county, explained the situation, how it was a mistake on our part, how we have always been responsible owners in Putnam County, and that we didn't owe anything on any of our other properties. After some back and forth, the county agreed to reduce the lien to $4,300, which we paid, and chalked it up as a $4,300 lesson learned. Luckily, we still made a small profit on the deal, but it was a close call and a mistake we won't make again. So what's the takeaway? Always, and I mean always, do your research. Just because a deal looks good on paper doesn't mean there aren't surprises waiting for you. So with that in mind, let's move on to where you can actually find these deals and how to make sure you're fully prepared before jumping in. The most popular website to participate in county tax deed auctions is realauction.com. If you're looking for online auctions in Florida, chances are most counties use this platform. Think of it like this: just as a car can't run without fuel, counties rely on property taxes to keep essential public services like schools and fire departments running smoothly. When those tax payments are missed, tax auctions are how counties refill the tank. Take Putnam County, for example, the same one from earlier. You can see their next tax deed auction is coming up on November 13th, with starting bids from $1,000 to $3,000. Not bad for a piece of land, right? So how do you participate? If you head to the FAQ section of Real Auction, you'll find all the rules clearly laid out. For instance, you'll need to place a deposit of $200 or 5% of your maximum bid for each property you plan to bid on. And if you're the winner, the full payment must be received by the clerk's office within 24 hours of the sale. But what about the second and third most popular websites for county tax auctions? Well, to find that out, you'll have to buy my course. Kidding. The second most popular website for government seized properties is bidforassets.com. Think of it like eBay, but for real estate, and without the weird bidding wars over old sneakers. Who added that line? ChatGPT. Yeah, it's funny. Here, you can find not only county tax deed sales, but also sheriff sales, bank-owned properties, and more. In fact, we recently bought a great infill lot in Lake County, California for a minimum bid of $5,000 and sold it within a few weeks for $10,000, a quick double up. And finally, the third website you should check out is COSL.org, which stands for Commissioner of State Lands. This is where you'll find post-auction tax deed sales for most of the counties in the state of Arkansas. And as you can see, there are tons of ongoing auctions happening right now. But here's the thing, if you dive in and start bidding without taking this one critical step, you could be setting yourself up to lose thousands. It's like jumping into a pool before checking if there's any water. You'll get a rude awakening. Skip this and you could end up with a property you can't sell, or worse, a money pit that drains your wallet. Let me share a story. So 6 years ago, when we were first starting out in land investing, we picked up a 20-acre parcel in Valencia County, New Mexico. We bought it for $6,000 and listed it for $14,000. Since we priced it below market value, it sold quickly to a buyer who was excited to build his retirement home on it. We were thrilled with the quick flip and moved on to other deals, feeling pretty good about ourselves. But then, about 6 months later, we got an unexpected call, and the guy on the other line was angry, like we just sold him a house on the moon without oxygen tanks. Is that ChatGPT again? He said, "You never told me about the arroyos on the property, and I can't build where I plan to, and you scammed me." We were completely blindsided. Not only had we not mentioned the arroyos, we didn't even know what an arroyo was at the time. After calming down from the shock, we started doing our homework. We researched what arroyos were, essentially. They're like dry creek beds that fill with water during heavy rains or flash floods, and spoke to the county officials about it. Turns out, while the property did have arroyos, because it was so large, 20 acres, there were still plenty of buildable areas. So we called the buyer back, apologized for not knowing, but explained what the county had told us. There were still other great places to build on the lot. And because we were just starting out and didn't want to damage our reputation, we offered him his money back if he was still unhappy. A week later, he called us back, and to our relief, he said he had found other spots to build on and didn't want the refund after all. So here's what you need to do to avoid getting caught in a situation like that. Before you make any purchase, there are few key things you need to check during your due diligence to avoid serious problems down the road. First, always check for wetlands, floodways, and arroyos. If your land is in one of those areas, you can't build on it. Imagine buying a property, getting excited to develop it, only to find out your building plans are out the window. So make sure to look into this before moving forward. Next, be sure your property has legal and physical access. If it's landlocked and you can't get to it without negotiating an easement with a neighbor, you won't be able to build. Double check that there's clear access to the property before you buy. And finally, always check for existing liens and make sure the numbers still work in your favor. But here's the thing, those aren't the only risks that could drain your wallet. So watch this video next to make sure you're fully prepared and don't miss out on crucial steps that could save you thousands. Not watching it would be like building a house and forgetting to add a roof. I love ChatGPT.